She's useless, living off my money, her husband mocked in front of guests while she served everyone. Anna woke up long before the sun rose. Today was a big day, and all the planning fell on her shoulders. She slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake her husband, Mark. He was still snoring softly in their cozy bedroom in a small town in Oregon. It was April 15, 2024, and Mark was turning 45. This party was his chance to show off his success to everyone. Anna pulled on her robe and tiptoed to the kitchen. A list of tasks hung on the fridge, written in her neat handwriting. Pick up the cake, check the food delivery, decorate the living room, call the caterers, confirm with guests. The list seemed endless, but Anna was used to it. She put the kettle on and started setting the dining table. A crisp white tablecloth, sparkling glassware, and polished silverware. Everything had to be perfect. Mark loved to impress, and Anna made sure their home always looked the part. Soon, the kitchen filled with the warm smell of homemade muffins. Anna had baked them using her grandmother's recipe. A crowd pleaser every time. While the muffins cooled, she moved to the living room. Balloons, streamers, and fresh flowers, she arranged them all with care. But deep inside, she felt drained, like a battery running low. Mark woke up around noon, striding out of the bedroom with a big smile. "Everything ready?" he asked, scanning the room. "Almost," Anna replied. "The cake's on its way, and the caterers will be here soon." "Great. It has to be flawless. I need to make an impression today," Mark said, adjusting his tie in the mirror. Guests started arriving, filling the house with chatter and laughter. The party was lively, and Anna buzzed around, making sure everyone had drinks and snacks. She overheard bits of conversation, mostly about Mark's success. His tech startup, his deals, his big plans. No one mentioned Anna. To them, she was just the woman behind the scenes. Mark's quiet wife. Some of Mark's relatives, especially his sister Clara, looked down on her. "She's lucky Mark takes care of her," Clara whispered to a cousin. "Without him, she'd be nowhere." Anna pretended not to hear. But the words stung. She was used to comments like that. But they never got easier. Mark soaked up the attention, basking in the praise. He told stories about his achievements, never once mentioning Anna's role. She watched from the sidelines, a knot of hurt tightening in her chest. He acted like he'd built everything alone, like she was invisible. At one point, Mark joined a group of his old friends and business buddies. He slung an arm around one and laughed loudly. "Honestly, if it wasn't for me, Anna would be out on the street," he said. "She doesn't do much, just lives off my hard work." Anna was nearby, pouring wine, and heard every word. Her cheeks burned, and tears pricked her eyes. But she held them back. She wouldn't let him see her break. Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself. Just then, Tom, an old family friend and business partner of Mark's, approached her. He gave her a kind look and said softly, "Anna, don't take it to heart. Mark doesn't realize how lucky he is to have you." Anna managed a small smile. "Thanks, Tom. You're stronger than he knows," Tom said, "and if you ever need anything, I'm here." His words were a tiny spark of warmth in the cold moment. At the dinner table, the mood was cheerful, but it felt forced to Anna. Mark kept making little jabs at her, disguised as jokes. "Let's hope Anna doesn't burn the house down with her cooking." He chuckled. His colleagues laughed, and Anna felt every eye on her. She set a bottle on the table, avoiding their gazes. "Come on, she does her best," said one guest. "Greg, Mark's assistant. The house looks great." "Anna, you're doing fine." Mark waved it off. "Keeping a house clean isn't hard. Business is what matters. And Anna's no help there. Her job is cooking dinner, not running a company." The laughter grew louder, sharper, like knives in Anna's heart. She moved silently, refilling glasses, offering appetizers. Each snicker, each dismissive comment, cut deeper. She felt like a servant, not a wife. Mark's mother, Evelyn, sitting at the head of the table, chimed in. "Mark's the real star," she said, glancing at Anna. "She's lucky he puts up with her." Anna's eyes stung, but she blinked the tears away. Was she really so worthless? She'd once had dreams, big ones, about a career, about making her mark, but she'd set them aside for Mark, for their family. And this was her reward, scorn and humiliation. Suddenly, something snapped inside her. Enough. A surge of anger and determination rose up. She straightened, lifted her chin, and looked right at Mark. He noticed the change in her and froze for a split second. Her eyes weren't the quiet, obedient ones he knew. They were fierce, unyielding. Anna scanned the room. The guests' faces showed curiosity, some even smirking, waiting for her to crumble. But she wasn't going to crumble. She stepped to the center of the table and picked up a glass of champagne. The room fell silent. Mark swallowed hard, sensing trouble. Evelyn frowned, annoyed that Anna was stealing the spotlight. "I'd like to make a toast," Anna said, her voice clear and steady. It rang through the room, strong and sure. "Dear friends, thank you for coming to celebrate Mark's big day." Someone coughed softly. Mark relaxed a little, expecting her usual polite words. But Anna wasn't here to flatter him. "There's been a lot of talk tonight about Mark's success," she continued. "And it's true, he's done amazing things." She paused, letting the words hang. But every success story has chapters people don't talk about. Mark's brow furrowed. Evelyn leaned forward, wary. "Let me tell you about the parts of our story that stay in the shadows," Anna said. "Back when Mark's business was just a dream. When we had nothing but hope and a pile of debt." She looked around, meeting surprised eyes. "Many of you see Mark as a brilliant leader, a deal maker. But not everyone knows how it all started, with a tiny company we built together." Mark's face reddened. He tried to interrupt, but Anna held up a hand. "Let me finish, Mark. This matters." She turned back to the guests. "We had no money, just big ideas." Mark was full of energy, but he didn't know the details. Who helped him figure out the finances? The taxes? The legal stuff? Me. Yes, me, the housewife. Whispers rippled through the room. Anna felt her confidence grow with every word. "I put my own dreams on hold to help Mark build his company. I worked late nights, made calls, wrote plans, found investors. And who convinced Mr. Larson to give us our first big loan? Me. Because I knew how to talk to him, how to make him trust us." Mark sat frozen, his perfect image cracking. "I take care of our home and our kids," Anna went on. "But that doesn't mean I'm just Mark's shadow. I was his partner, his support, his equal. And I'm proud of what I did for him." She paused, catching her breath. The room was so quiet. You could hear a clock ticking. "But here's the funny thing," Anna said, a hint of irony in her voice. "All these years, while I kept the house running and backed Mark up, I never stopped growing. I took side jobs, translations, writing, consulting, not for the money, but to stay sharp, to stay me, to be ready to walk away if I ever needed to." A few guests gasped. Mark shot up, his face twisted with anger. "Anna, what are you doing?" he snapped. But Tom stepped in, his voice calm but firm. "Let her speak, Mark." He turned to the room. "Anna's incredible. I've always known she's smart and capable." He walked over to her, looking her in the eye. "Anna, I'm starting a new project. And I need a partner I can trust. I want you to join me. You're perfect for it." Anna froze, stunned. She'd always known Tom respected her. But this? Mark tried to speak, but Tom cut him off. "This is Anna's choice, Mark. She deserves this." Anna looked at Tom, then at Mark, then back at Tom. Doubt, hope, and resolve swirled in her eyes. "Tom," she said finally, "I'm in." A lump rose in her throat. But she stood tall. She glanced at Mark. His face was a mix of fury and shame. He'd lost something tonight: respect, control, and maybe her. Anna raised her glass. "To new beginnings," she said, and drank deeply. Mark tried to laugh it off, but it came out weak. "Come on, Anna, enough with the drama," he said, forcing a grin. "Everyone exaggerates a bit, right?" He looked around for support, but no one laughed. The silence was heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Then, from the back of the table, Mr. Carter, an old friend of Mark's, stood up. He was gruff, quiet, but his words carried weight. "Anna's right," he said slowly. "I remember those early days. Mark, you almost tanked that first deal. If Anna hadn't stepped in, you wouldn't be here." Mark's face went pale, then red. "What are you talking about? Carter? Are you on her payroll now?" Carter shook his head. "No one paid me. I'm just telling the truth. Anna's sharp, and you've always known it." Mark exploded. "Why's everyone acting like she's some genius? She's a housewife. She cooks and cleans, that's it. Now she's playing the hero?" Anna looked at him, calm, almost pitying. She saw anger in his eyes. But also fear. Fear of being exposed, of losing his grip. "Mark," she said softly, "I didn't want to embarrass you. I just wanted you and everyone else to know the truth. I was never just a housewife. I was your partner. But you didn't see it. You saw me as less." She took a deep breath. Her eyes locked on his. "And here's the irony. You were scared I'd outshine you. But you're the one who made me stronger. You pushed me to find my own way. To be independent. You thought you controlled me. But I was learning all along." Mark stood there, speechless, like he'd been hit by lightning. He'd always seen her as weak, reliant. Now, she was a force he couldn't ignore. "And Mark," Anna said, her voice steady, "I'm done. I'm not your shadow anymore." With that, she set down her glass and walked away. Mark called after her, but his voice was lost in the stunned silence. She left the room, her head high, leaving him behind. In that moment, he realized he wasn't just losing a wife. He was losing a piece of himself. His story, his strength. The party fizzled out, heavy with awkwardness. As Anna stepped outside, Tom caught up with her. "Anna," he said gently, "my offer stands. I believe in you." She looked at him, seeing sincerity in his eyes. For the first time in years, she smiled, a real, bright smile. "Thank you, Tom," she said. He offered his hand, and she shook it firmly. In that handshake, she found not just a job, but a friend, someone who saw her for who she was, smart, strong, capable. Anna called a taxi and gave the driver her friend Lisa's address. She needed a place to think, to plan her next steps. Lisa welcomed her with open arms. Shocked but supportive, they talked late into the night, mapping out Anna's future. Lisa offered her a place to stay until she got back on her feet. The next morning, Anna woke with a mix of nerves and excitement. She called Tom to set up a meeting about the project. Then she contacted a lawyer to start divorce proceedings. She wanted a clean break, a fresh start. At the bank, she withdrew her savings, her safety net for this new life. Her meeting with Tom went better than she'd hoped. He shared his vision for a new eco-friendly tech startup. Anna loved the idea and dove in, drafting plans and strategies. Tom handled suppliers and logistics, while Anna focused on marketing. They worked long hours, fueled by passion and belief in their goal. Months later, their business was thriving. They opened branches in Seattle and Portland, earning praise and profit. Anna became a respected name in the industry. Meanwhile, Mark's life unraveled. After the party, his reputation took a hit. Friends and partners distanced themselves, doubting his character. His business faltered, losing deals and money. He was alone, his confidence shattered. Even his mother, Evelyn, had a change of heart. She visited Anna one day, her face full of regret. "I was wrong about you," Evelyn said. "I'm sorry." Anna forgave her, holding no grudges. She'd moved on, building a life she loved. Anna bought a sunny apartment in downtown Portland. She traveled, explored new places, and gave back through charity. But most importantly, she found herself. She learned to love who she was, to value her own strength. Anna wasn't just Mark's wife anymore. She was a leader, a creator, a woman who'd rewritten her story. And as she looked out at the city skyline, she knew one thing for sure. This was only the beginning.